Hey guys, I'm ZetsuboJ from HailZeon.com, and today I'm going to be reviewing Dragon Ball, Plan to Eradicate the Super Saiyans. I do need to throw up a spoiler warning on this one because I will be talking about this OVA in its entirety. Though, if you've ever seen a Dragon Ball movie, I'm pretty sure you know how this is going to end. This OVA is actually a condensed remake of an older OVA that was never released stateside called Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans, which was created to promote a Famicom game of the same name. You know, because video game plots make for great movies. Footage from it would later be used in a game called True Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans for the Playdia. What's a Playdia? Go look it up. Much like its predecessor, this movie's release coincided with the game, namely Raging Blast 2. This was done to introduce Western audiences to the film's antagonist, Hachiyak, who was added to the game's roster. Well, that sums up the history, now on to the review. We open with the Saiyans waging an attack on the Tuffle City as one of them finishes completion of his invention, the Grudge Amplification Device. He then activates the machine before falling off of it. It then begins to absorb the dead Tuffle's grudge against the Saiyans as it rockets into the sky. We then jump to many years later where we see the ship floating aimlessly in space. Then some guy appears, formed from what seems to be the dark energy that we saw earlier, who then spouts off something about revenge. We then cut to Earth, which is being enveloped by a black mist. Apparently this coincides with the Garlic Jr. saga. Actually, the mist is generated by devices that are coming from a dark planet that just randomly showed up next to Earth. How did this planet teleport next to Earth? I have no clue. We then see Bulma, who has determined that the mist is actually Destron gas, a substance that can kill all life on Earth in 70 days. Though I'm not sure how Bulma knows about poisonous gases from alien worlds. I guess infinite knowledge just comes with being a genius. Vegeta then chimes in, informing the others that the only people capable of handling weapons like these are the Tuffles. Wait, the peaceful, technologically advanced Tuffle race are the only ones capable of having a device that generates poisonous space gas? Okay. I don't know what to say to that. And how does Vegeta even know this? The Tuffles were wiped out 2 years before he was even born. He should have never even seen a Tuffle, let alone be able to identify their technology. I'm just going to assume that he caught sexually transmitted infinite knowledge from Bulma. And move on. The gang then heads off to destroy the gas emitter that's located in West City. When they get there, they find out the generator is protected by a barrier and can't be destroyed. Then the gas takes the form of fallen enemies from Goku's past. Specifically Frieza, Cooler, Turles, and oh my god, Lord Slug. Thanks a lot, Plan to Eradicate the Super Saiyans, because I really needed to be reminded of Lord Slug. A fight breaks out between the 9 of them, and although they're stronger than they were before, the Z-Fighters still plow through them like a pedestrian in GTA. Goku then contacts King Kai for advice. He tells Goku to stop the gas, he needs to find the one controlling it. Thanks a lot, King Kai, your infinite sage-like wisdom is second only to Bulma. Goku then comes to the brilliant deduction that the evil mastermind behind this whole scheme must be over there. You know, that giant evil gas planet. Why didn't they just go there first? Shouldn't that have been plan A? Next we cut to Light Chi's fortress on Dark Planet. Then we see this guy again, who I can only assume is Light Chi, because he has yet to be introduced. Anyhow, we see him floating inside of his invention, monologuing to himself about revenge and grudge energy when he notices Goku and the rest show up. Light Chi then admits that he's the one behind the gas. Guess there was some doubt that the cyberpunk Dr. Wily was the bad guy? He also tells him how he's the greatest Tuffle scientist, which isn't that impressive when the rest of your race is extinct. And that he's come to take revenge for the Tuffles. You know, for a peaceful race, these guys are kind of vindictive assholes. And he's doing this as a ghost. I guess he died in transit. and he was brought back through the power of his grudge amplification device. Well, I guess that explains Turles and the rest showing up. No, wait, it doesn't. How does grudge amplification bring back the dead? Whatever. Lighty then goes on about how he would have gotten away with it had it not been for those meddling Saiyans, and how he can't be killed because his barrier protects him and can't be destroyed. And our heroes respond in true Dragon Ball fashion by breaking his barrier and killing him. But the power of his grudge is so strong that when absorbed by the grudge amplifier, it transforms into its perfect form. Now we're introduced to the true Hachiek, and the real antagonist of our film. Like any good DBZ villain, he's a ridiculously OP rape machine, and even Vegeta's final flash barely gets his attention. Though, as the battle continues, Goku realizes his ki disappears when he's on the defensive, and then it takes 15 seconds for him to charge his special move. Goku then calls to the other Z fighters for one last stand against Hachiek. Ah, I see what he's doing. He's going to time their attack just before Hachiek fires his, which will cause him to disengage his attack and defend, forcing him to take the full power of their blast. Nope, they're just gonna have a beam battle with him. Why would they do this? Shouldn't he be at the peak of his power right now? No, it's working. Why is it working? It worked. God damn it. Why did that work? Well, with our baddie destroyed, the Z fighters GTFO just as the planet blows up. Things wrap up as our heroes get home just in time to be bitched out by Chi-Chi. Fade to black, cue the credits. Okay, how did Dr. Lighty die? And how did he get his own mobile planet? And how is it even able to teleport? And how does amplified grudge bring back the dead? Okay, fine, I watched Ju-On, so I get that part, but it could have been explained better. And don't forget Bulma and Vegeta's unexplained knowledge of Tuffle gas. And why even go to the planet? Why not just have Vegeta blow it up? I know he can, I've seen him do it. Just have him fire a final flash, bang, fuck, they're dead, planet saved. Why am I left with so many questions? It's not like I just watched the end of Eva, it's DBZ, it's as shallow as a sandbox. I shouldn't be confused. Really, all of this is caused by the OVA's brevity. If they had just added an extra 5 or so minutes, they could have put some exposition explaining these things. Instead, what we get is a convoluted plot that hits the ground running because it needs to wrap everything up in half an hour. I guess broken pacing is to be expected since the original OVA was a 2-parter that was almost twice the length, but that doesn't excuse the plot holes. And if you're thinking the original OVA explains these plot holes, well, it doesn't, because most of these problems are only in the remake's rewritten script. Though, the original does flesh out Lighty's backstory, explain the grudge amplifier, and moves at a smoother pace. But it also has a lot of needless fluff, which mostly consists of the Z fighters taking out other generators and having boring fight scenes with random generic monsters. So you have to choose between an OVA that's too short with plot holes, or one that's too long and boring. Yeah. The animation is pretty disappointing too. I know it's TOEI and they're not known for their great animation, but considering this is an OVA and only the second piece of original DBZ animation in 14 years, you'd think they put some effort into it. But no, there's a lot of repeating animations, sliding frames, and other cost-cutting techniques, making the overall package just feel cheap. However, I will admit that the finale does look amazing. One thing I will praise it for is its soundtrack. The score sounds great. Though it doesn't feel reminiscent of old school DBZ, it definitely does a fantastic job of setting the mood. Even though the soundtrack and the finale is awesome, it's just not enough to save this one. I can say with full confidence, this is the worst Dragon Ball movie I have ever seen. Okay, it's not as bad as Bio Broly, but it's definitely a close second and definitely not worth your money, and neither is the game. Unless you're just a total shameless DBZ whore. and have to own everything that has the name on it, definitely skip this one. Well, that sums up this review. See you guys next time. I guess I'm gonna go platinum this POS. Bye.
Take your chance, be now. He